The SEGA Super game is going to be a big deal, and it's probably going to change gaming for SEGA if they're actually successful and if what they're promising becomes the truth. A Super game by SEGA is actually going to be a set of several games, and they're all going to have a lot of funding into them. I believe SEGA's putting $800 million into the funding for the SEGA Super games. And like I said, these Super games are planned to make a huge impact in gaming and surpass the normal quality of a video game, which sounds like an interesting concept from SEGA. And apparently their first Super game is going to rely heavily on user-generated content, and they say not like the metaverse, but they wanted to call it something else and have it basically be, I guess, what I can think of is VR chat or something with SEGA characters. I have no idea. Or a Roblox or type of Dreams game. Those are the only things I can really think of that would really benefit from user-generated content in that way. So because of that, I don't think their first game will be a Sonic game. But a lot of people are not really informed that the Super games are games and the $800 million fund is for multiple games. And I believe personally that a Super game will come its way and benefit the Sonic franchise. I know SEGA has a lot of franchises, or they could come up with new franchises, but I feel like after the failure of Hyenas, which didn't even make it out of beta, they canceled the game entirely to cut their losses. I feel like them trying games like that probably isn't going to be as frequent. I feel they're going to stick to what they have, which is Sonic, Yakuza, Persona, and now maybe Jet Set Radio, because a new Jet Set Radio is coming for sure. And it's possible that that also could be the Super game, and the user-generated content for that could just be the sprays. Like when you spray paint in Jet Set Radio, and probably online multiplayer of some kind. I don't know. Well, let's talk about all the ways that this is definitely going to benefit the Sonic franchise if they get some of that budget. Well, for one, they're going to have a bigger budget. A big problem with Sonic Team right now is they don't really get a lot of budget for their games, and maybe I understand why. I kind of think SEGA doesn't trust them fully with a huge budget because I feel like they probably think they're going to mess it up. But in my opinion, I think they should give them bigger budgets that will allow them to hire more people and work in better conditions when it comes to getting paid, as well as having just a lot of money to utilize to improve the game. I feel like a lot of Sonic games have been AA games instead of AAA games. Frontiers and Forces might as well have been a AA game as well, maybe almost even an indie game. Sonic is the biggest name at the brand. It needs to bring in the most money and needs to do the best. It's kind of like Mario. Mario usually does the best for Nintendo. It's the face of the company. It's the face of just Nintendo games period, and his games usually do the best. They usually get the highest scores. That and Zelda. But I know it's not all about the review scores. It's really just about seeing how many people enjoy your game. And guess what? People enjoy Mario so much. People need to feel this way about Sonic. So this money needs to be invested into Sonic, and I think the Super game idea will be a perfect opportunity to do that for Sonic. Make a Sonic Super game. And don't just pin it on Sonic Team. Maybe involve Hardlight and then, I don't know, the studio behind Yakuza, and then just have them combine together for like a big Sonic game. Just take employees from like each section of the companies. And SEGA Hardlight is cooking right now with Sonic Dream Team. This game looks almost better than Frontiers, but we have to see, when it actually comes out. But the time of this video, that game looks peak. Sonic Team has proven that they can cook with Frontiers, and Sega's very happy about Frontiers, you can tell, and they're just overall happy about Frontiers, which is really nice to see compared to Forces, where you could tell they weren't that happy about it. We could see a game surpass Sonic Unleashed in almost all ways when it comes to the visual fidelity, the budget, even just having CGI high quality cutscenes, smooth animations for Sonic that surpass Insomniac, maybe a great written story, great voice acting. All of it just could all be true if they had more money. Now, more money doesn't solve the problem because you still have to do the thing with the money, but I do feel like it will only benefit Sonic Team, and they learned a lot from Frontiers. And like I said, the idea of getting Hardlight involved to help make the game, I think would be a great idea because they seem to know what's up. And whoever they have animating the Yakuza games, get them over here at Sonic Team, just for this next Super game. I think if they combine all of these elements in the right way, this could very much create the best Sonic game or close to the best Sonic game, just with the idea of the whole Super game thing. And of course they might do some weird gimmick, because it seems like Super games are going to have some crazy gimmick that makes them popular, at least in theory. Like I said, the first Super game is going to rely on user generated content. Now, how would you do that for a Sonic game? I'm not really sure. A Sonic Maker game, but then I don't really feel like that warrants being a Super game. Mario Maker is right there, you know, that's not a Super game style, that's just a game that they made at Nintendo. So I kind of don't understand what that first game is going to be, and if it's even going to be an existing IP. Who really knows? I can't really think of much outside of maybe Jet Set Radio, so maybe we won't see the effects of the Super games for Sonic just yet in the coming years, because the first Super game is set to launch in 2026. So I wouldn't get your hopes up for waiting relatively soon to see a Sonic Super game. I'd give it a little bit more time as the years go on, and Sonic Frontiers 2, of course, is starting development, or has been in development already. So that is something I think to look forward to. We'll definitely just have to keep our eyes out, because the Super game thing could be a massive flop and just fall on Sega's face, because it does kind of have that feeling to it a little bit, that it could just flop. It just sounds like a too massive of an idea that doesn't maybe make sense, because we don't really understand all the details on what a Super game actually means. At the end of the day, who really knows what a Super game means? Who really knows if Sonic's even going to get any of that budget? It couldn't at all, which probably would be pretty sad. I think they should, but we will really see what's going on here in the next few years. And if it's not looking it, then I'm sorry, Sonic's probably not going to get saved by Super games. And I hate to really say the word saved, because like, yeah, Sonic is doing better. But what I mean by saved is like brought up to the level of Mario, of consistency and all of that. Sonic is getting better, yes. But again, it's not fully saved in my opinion, but the future is looking bright. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. And like always, I'll see you guys in the next one. And that's right, Sonic Dream Team is out next month, so we're definitely going to be covering that and playing that. So I hope you guys hopefully have an iPhone or an iPad or something, that way you can play that game, because I think it's going to be pretty fun. So make sure you guys check out my coverage of Sonic Dream Team, and like always though, I'll see you guys in the next one.